Recently, in the last year, I've lost 3 of my relatives to cancer.
Cancer knows no borders, and we shouldn't have a scenario where we're actually, based on where you live, determines what your risk is of getting cancer.
It's also having a huge impact on healthcare systems, on the sustainability of healthcare systems.
If you don't look at all the initiatives around the world and bring them into one place, we'd still be talking about cancer in the same old, diverse way. My name is Brian O'Connor from the Global Health Connector. For me, cancer affects everyone, whether you have it yourself or relatives have it. Recently, in the last year, I've lost 3 of my relatives to cancer, right, just on a personal basis. And what I would say to you is this: if you don't have a collective voice, if you don't look at all the initiatives around the world and bring them into one place, and then that group now takes the actions we need to take, we'd still be talking about cancer in the same old, diverse way and distributed way as we have. So the role of the Global Health Connector is to create thematic structures which allow us to actually have some genuine impact around the world. So with that, I have with me members of our steering group, Mark Lawler and Eduardo, and what I want them to do is explain what the cancer ecosystem is actually going to do and is doing. So maybe you want to start, Mark.
Thanks very much, Brian. And again, what Brian emphasises, cancer affects everybody, and the second thing is cancer knows no borders, and we shouldn't have a scenario where we're actually, based on where you live, determines what your risk is of getting cancer and dying from cancer. So what we see in relation to this ecosystem, we really see it as a crucible for collaboration. Not collaboration, collaboration. Collaboration is simply talking to each other and looking at ways in which we can work together. That's not what we want to do. We want to have that bringing together of the community, but also action, because actions speak a lot louder than words. And what we're seeing is bringing together this community, having a number of different pillars that we're going to look at in relation to education, in relation to policy, but also in relation to identifying key projects by talking to the community and finding out what do they need. And that community can be in Europe, in Eastern Europe particularly, where there are challenges, but it also can be worldwide. It can be global, in Africa, in India, because unfortunately the problem is everywhere. And it's now one of the biggest killers in the world in relation to a disease, and that's really not acceptable. And the other thing we really need to look at is how do we deliver equity in this setting. So it's no use depending on where you live as to whether you get cancer care or not. We want to have a scenario where we're looking at ways in which we can deliver, as part of this global network and this ecosystem, something that actually makes it better for everybody on this planet.
That's right, Mark, and as you were saying, cancer incidence is on the rise everywhere in the world. The numbers are staggering. It's been certified by international, and it's also having a huge impact on healthcare systems, on the sustainability of healthcare systems. The organization that I represent, which is called Olcan International, focuses exactly on improving efficiency in cancer care, which by all means implies improving outcomes, health outcomes for people, but at the same time it should look also at the sustainability and the efficiency of healthcare systems. Now, there are numerous interventions, policies, technologies that can improve efficiency and as a consequence can also improve health outcomes for people. And I think these are exactly the kind of examples, good practice, case studies that we can extrapolate, and through the global cancer ecosystem, we can try to amplify, to disseminate in order to create cross-regional collaborations, to use the same terminology, and in order to support also capacity building at the local level.
And just to say, we just launched this recently, and we're very keen to get more organizations around the world. We're aligning ourselves with existing fabulous initiatives around the world. One of the springs to mind is in Abuja in Nigeria, for example, where one of our ecosystems exists already. And there we have really enthusiastic a cancer network in Nigeria who are saying, I need a voice outside of Nigeria. I need a global voice, but also I need replies and information from around the globe. and I'm having difficulty finding one location, one voice, if you like, that can give that to me. So this is one of the objectives of the cancer ecosystem. Just to ask you a question, in terms of effectiveness, there are lots of organizations, there are lots of events, I think probably too many, but how are we going to overcome just being another Me Too organization? What are we going to do which is different from individual organizations? I mean, I think I know what it is, but I'd love to hear what you think.
I think there's three things we're going to do. First of all, collaboration. So bringing the community together, but to develop solutions, not identify problems. The second is looking at ways in which we can actually deliver for every part of the world. So we want to compete together, not against each other, but against our common enemy, cancer. So I think that global aspect of what we're trying to do is really important. And the other is looking at not only the health benefit, which is what we're really focusing on, but also what is the economic and socio-economic benefit to society of having better cancer outcomes. So how do we do that? How do we bring together the community? And that community is very wide. And so I think those three things are part of what distinguishes us from other very well-meaning initiatives.
Eduardo?
Yeah, let me add, Brian, that there is also an opportunity, which would be a unique opportunity to engage with non-traditional stakeholders for example, the fact of not looking only at the healthcare community, but also beyond that community, where technology innovators may bring solutions, and where there would be also other parties that want to engage and want to address concretely in the fight against a societal challenge. And incidentally, there is also social innovation players who have a major role to play, notably when it comes to addressing inequalities in different parts of the world.
And just to finish and say this, that one of the things that we all are aware of, but I'm not sure it's addressed properly, is the impact not only on the person who has cancer, right? It is the surrounding friends, family, etc., loved ones who actually are affected directly. And then the last aspect is the economic aspect, because look at the economic burden in that sense of the cost of treating cancer, the cost of actually looking after people, and suddenly they can't work. Suddenly the whole economic problem becomes much, much worse. So I think by connecting as we do, everything we do is based on the science, on the health, the finance and the economic impact. And I think that's one of the things that I think this global approach allows us to take.
Another point which is perfectly complementary to everything that's been described, and it's person-centeredness.
Yes.
In the approach that we may want to take. Because to your point, cancer affects everybody in the society, and the fact of having person-centered cancer care pathways also will enable to develop and to implement solutions, interventions and policies which are going to improve outcomes, but are moreover going to be important to the individuals who have to go through this difficult journey.
And to close, to say this, we've already had a very good reaction from around the world. Lots of people already joined us. We need more people to join us to create our collective voice, which gives us a collective power of a global ecosystem. And we're going to carry on. So if you wish, join us. Thank you.